Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the channel today. Today is a 3v3 analysis for Dark, who is at this time Champ 2. So let's take a look. The kickoff is a little sloppy. You want to tighten up that dodge. I would never recommend jumping for this. Really even going in that far because you don't have a teammate back. So even if you did go that far, the best option is just to leave and let someone who's further back go for that aerial, because you're probably not going to hit it. Or if you do, it's not going to be very meaningful. There, just a little more attention. Your teammate did jump before you, even though it was technically yours to go for. If they jump before you, just keep an eye out so you're not double committing there. So the double jumping before you start boosting is something I would work on. Double jump and boost all at the same time, and then you jump when you're facing the ball. But one thing you need to consider is the travel of the ball in the time between you jumping and you getting there. So you need to adjust a little bit further to the left before you jump, so you don't end up reaching like this for the ball, and you could get a more forward hit. And then you hesitate and think right here in a situation where you have no boost and it's a threes match, so it's fast. You should just be leaving. No hesitation, no thought. You have no boosts in threes. You're basically useless. Smart to cut in and defend there, even though you needed boost. And then here, you can hear your teammate jump before you. If you can't hear that in your volume, I would recommend working on like turning that up and listening for teammates. In this situation, it kind of seems like you're not reading what he's trying to do. So you always, at every point, want to be anticipating what he wants to do with the ball. And just based off of where he jumped, you could tell he was trying to pinch that across. But you went all the way to the front of the net. So you'd want to wait at the back of the net, because in theory, it's going to come across the net very fast. And you want more reaction time so you can potentially clear it, instead of it going over your head. I do like what you did in this forward rotation, because you chose to support the potential of a breakaway. Like you don't have a lot of boost, but you have enough that maybe in a breakaway situation you get a goal. But then when you see it's not going to happen, you're immediately leaving because you realize you don't have boost. So that part was good. And that's, again, you're jumping when you're not quite lined up with where the ball is going to be. You want to make this as easy for yourself as possible. You're perfectly lined up with the ball when you jump, but it's very quickly traveling to the right. So that's going to make it very difficult for you to get to the ball. It's good patience to realize that your teammate still wants that. And that's good because you're stalling here. But again, like reading, one thing also to keep in mind is the relationship between your opponent's car and the ball and what they have potential of doing. In this situation, it's very unlikely that he's going to get a shot on. And even if he does, you're not going to get high enough to block it because you just now jumped. So because of that fact, it would be better for you to not jump at all and just fake this for pressure and turn around, because you can recover faster if you never jump. As you see, that took you way out here instead of potentially being able to just circle back around after what was essentially a fake challenge. I do like that you picked the situation over the boost, which was up the second time through. It was a glitch for those of you who weren't paying attention. And there's not really a whole lot better you could have done here, but I do like that you chose not to go for the boost when this was needed of you. Just unfortunate couldn't get in front of it. Actually, I would argue that that goal happened right here when you chose to dodge for this boost that this guy very clearly has. Like, he's always going to get before you. So it's very easy to fall into muscle memory and just do the same thing after kickoff, but you want to pay attention to the fact that, like, oh, he's going to get that boost, so there's no reason for me to go there. I need to go to the back corner. And if you'd gone to the back corner first, he never trips you up. You're never on low boost, and you can take that corner. It would still be a tough situation, but at least you would have some boost and a slightly better position to deal with it. Here, your adjustment for this kickoff was a little bit too much. See, you're facing directly at the ball. You want to save some of that adjustment for the last little bit so that you're hitting the ball like directly between the ball and the goal, like the center of the goal. You want to be in perfect line with the goals and the ball when you hit it. And in this case, dodge back to the right. And that'll help you win kickoffs more consistently. Yes, you won that one, but, you know, more consistently, more controllably win kickoffs. You want to adjust the way you do it a little bit. Here you're moving forward with no boost, so I would recommend just getting back. You got fortunate that that spawned. That was a good read. You did well, considering that there is no pressure on the backboard. You kind of boost to slow yourself down a little bit. If you had, you know, if you have the presence of mind, you may have been able to just, instead of leaning forward quite so much, if you had just kind of used your boost to hover a little more instead of nosing into it, you might have actually scored, but that's a very minor thing. Obviously what you did worked. It still got you a goal. I like what you do off kickoff here. Just immediately pressuring onto the backboard. I dislike the dodge, personally. Just because it takes you so far forward and it eliminates your ability to get to it if your teammate for some reason can't. And then on top of that, the going for the bump, which in my opinion actually didn't impact it too much. I think he was going to travel too far anyway, regardless of your bump. I think he was operating without knowing you were coming. So if that shot hadn't been a goal, you would have been in a tough spot. I would say you wouldn't want to be in. I would say you could definitely be dodging around more with low boost just to get your momentum up. Because if you spend time dodging instead of just driving, you're then accelerating. And then when you're accelerated up towards more like supersonic, it makes it to where in a situation where you're racing someone for boost, you stand a chance because maybe you've got 2 pads and you're almost supersonic just off flipping. See where I'm coming from on that? There, I would say this boost, like dodge, is not necessary. I would just keep going and get that corner. Because you already have a teammate upfield that he's trying to pass to. So you don't need to necessarily go be that passing option. And I think you're actually going to be the first person I ever recommend this to. Is that you don't go for corner boost enough. Most people go to corner boost every time they need boost, but it kind of seems like you're just ignoring it altogether and just trying to go without it. But having a lot of boost is necessary in just keeping up your general speed of play, going for aerials, that kind of stuff. Decent pre-flip just to catch that ball properly. But then once you did get the boost, you then used it all. In threes, once this touch happens, it's almost definitely never going to be yours again, like right away. So that whole spending 50 boost right there, I think is a little bit unnecessary because your teammate is going to pressure that. And you could have landed with 50 boost instead of 0, and then you could have supported him on offense a little better. It's again. Yeah, so this just seems a little bit desperate of a block attempt. When you're jumping, he's already like definitely gonna be shooting this. Like you're never ever gonna be in a situation where you're gonna block this from this position. I would say your turn is pretty fair. Your teammate just didn't handle it so well. Expecting him to put this down towards the corner and somewhere around where you're at so that you can pick this up and continue it forward is a reasonable expectation. So I don't fault you for that. But once this mistake does happen, you've just got to hope and pray that this dude misses the shot because you're not blocking it. And what you need to do is just put yourself in position if he does miss. Get to that back post so that you can defend a follow-up, which luckily they missed too. Being this far forward, losing the boost race, I understand. Continuing to try to bump on like low boosts where the best you're gonna get is a moderate bump. Like you're not gonna bump them out of position that far because they're right up against the wall. They'll recover immediately. And you're not gonna demo them because you can't go fast enough because you have no boost. What I would recommend you do in this situation is just turn. Just get back, get boost. If you get boost one more time, you can recycle and have another potential scoring opportunity. This is another reading situation. I would say it is pretty fair to assume he's gonna touch this like he does. And you should have been able to read that when he's coming down the wall. Like, he makes that touch and immediately starts dropping. To me, what that tells me is Either he's going for it solo, but still on the ground, and a 50 might pop out in the middle, or he's going to touch it to me, or out middle. So if he's going to touch it out middle intentionally, that's where you need to put yourself. And like at this moment, you should be understanding that you need to get into that 18-yard box area just in front of the net. Basically, like where the ball is right now, you'd want to be there, and then you could get a shot off this because it was a very good pass. You did good not to boost starve your teammate. I'll give you credit there. I think that's a little bit too much trust in this situation. I would just sit back in the net a little bit further as this touch gets made, on the off chance that he does hit it like this. Because if he hits it like this and you're sitting like more on the goal line instead of where you're at right now, getting up to this with 30 boost isn't really hard and awkward. It's just a direct flight up to it instead of, you know, an awkward like turn and spin touch that's going to be weak. That I would certainly not recommend doing either. You have a teammate on his way to pressure the situation occurring over here. I wouldn't backward aerial try to guess where this is going to pinch off to and try to get a dunk on it. I would just cycle around to back post there. That works, I guess. Almost. A little more boost you would have had it. And when did you actually jump here? Yeah, you actually did read that. Just based off of your early jump. So that was a good read. Just a little unfortunate you didn't have the boost to reach it. That's smart in that situation, just slowing him down, because you obviously see your teammate trying to demo him and he doesn't. So, you know, allowing that stall to occur is good. And that's a great little pinch. I would actually say, like, as much of a great pass as this is, and the scoring potential is there, I would 9 times out of 10 leave this, just because of the position of your two teammates and the likelihood that this is going to spit out back to the other side and lead to a counterattack goal. A little bit quiet, but I'm not seeing anything to the point where I would like deem it necessary to give some coaching advice. You've been a lot more fast-paced throughout this overtime, and this is how I would say you should be playing all the time. You're, you know, constantly with trails. Your boost count is, you know, respectable most of the time. That jump is a little unnecessary. I like the idea that you're trying to rush into a pre-jump block because you understand that you need to block the goal here. But in the process of your turn, you're taking yourself away from actually blocking the potential goal. So just a little bit extra care You don't want to pre-jump out of the way, you know. That's an unfortunate, weird jump. I don't... What even... You jump right on that awkward part of the leading up into the wall where it doesn't allow you to actually jump off. And then on top of that, I would say you probably shouldn't even jump at all. Just continue to drive up into the position where you can then 50 this. You'd be a little bit higher and you could 50 it with ISO. You kind of sat and hesitated in net a little bit longer than I would have recommended. But at the same time, like, one of them just went for boost and the other two are at midfield. So situationally, it's all right. But you go a little bit too high on that if you're trying to score it. It's all right for a touchdown. For this dodge, I would say to kind of improve your risk assessment a little bit, because ISO never went for it, and you should be reading that it's not on net. So dodging across like that, it's always, because of the diagonal dodge, is going to take you into the net and get you stuck like that. So you want to just kind of jump off and land. That's just unfortunate execution. It's a good idea to cut on that, I think. I probably would have done the same in that situation. Just getting that corner boost opens up a lot of doors. What caused this double commit? So, okay, I can see what caused this. Your teammate kind of circled a bit, and both of you thought it was your turn. So I can't see anything without comms to really eliminate that from happening. This is another risk assessment situation. You can see the two opponents leaving and one in the net. You don't have a need to get up on the wall. Just identifying that as a snap earlier would save you a little bit of time. And then the from that point, you've seen Comic Phase just jumped, and Destiny Rozak just hit the ball forward. So neither of them is going to be in a place to deal with this, and he's just hit it into a group of opponents. So the last thing you want to do is take yourself away from center and away from the goal. You just kind of want to keep yourself in the goal box area to deal with a situation like this, to where you're coming forward at that instead of leaning back like that, because it's just going to lead to you being beaten that way. However, all in all, though, pretty good. My biggest recommendations are not to ignore the corner boosts quite so much. Work on situations where you can safely pick them up. Your pace of play, like in the overtime, was good. That's where it should be all the time. But during the game, it was definitely a little bit slower. And then on top of that, your ball touches in general, you kind of seem uncomfortable. Like, I just want to see you boom the ball. Like, just hit it really hard. Just hit it really hard all the time. That's what you want to work on as far as the ball in general, in my opinion. And, you know, kind of reading the situation and what's going to happen before it does happen is going to enable you to get those harder hits. So that's another thing that I would recommend you work on, is just that, you know, this is what he's going to do in this situation. You know, that ability to, in an instant, put yourself in the opponent's shoes and figure out what is the best option for them, and preparing yourself mentally for it. That'll help your reaction time. That'll help your positioning. And those two things together will allow you to get better hits on the ball and be more productive in general. So yeah, that's kind of my basis of notes for you. If you need anything, you can always hit me up on Discord for any more direct questions about any of this. And for the rest of you, thank you all so much for watching. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.